Let's talk about the last Nintendo Direct. I've deliberately waited 3 days and kind of thought about the entire thing, so not to be too emotional. I'm still gonna be emotional no matter what, but I kind of try to get rid of most of these feelings. This Direct was probably the worst one we ever had. Now hear me out. There were good games announced, and both things can be true. A Direct can be truly horrible and have good games in it. And now you might be asking yourself, how could that possibly be? Well, it's kind of got to do with the way I see Nintendo Directs. The fact of the matter is, it's called a Nintendo Direct. And originally, the format was Nintendo giving information about their games directly to the community. And it kind of just evolved into more and more third-party games, which is, fine if they're good, I guess, and less first and second-party games. And pretty much no insight on how Nintendo games are actually developed anymore, because early iterations of Directs actually had some insight into development. Now for me, a Nintendo Direct is mostly about Nintendo, or it should be mostly about Nintendo, because the only reason I really watch this is for Nintendo games. If I was interested in most of these third-party games, I could also just go on Steam and search for some indie games, or if it's a bigger AAA game or AA game, then there's a good chance that there's also already a trailer out, or they will release one independently. And it's just kind of like, why make it 50 minutes of third-party games, basically, with pretty much no original content from their end? Let me be clear about that. I don't think that the games that got announced there are bad per se. There's a lot of Deltarune fans that are excited that they got a trailer for Chapter 6, which I'm happy for them. I don't think Deltarune is a bad game, by no means, and that announcement is good. I do really feel for y'all. I like it when games get announced that make people happy. It's kind of part of this hobby. We should all be happy for each other if even only other ones get announcements that make them happy. But I just think that you can't really say Nintendo Direct is a good Nintendo Direct just because they had great third-party games. What's also on my mind is the fact that they had us waiting for 9 months. 9 months, dead silence, no Direct, nothing. A few trailers here and there, a few shadow drops, some announcements, but pretty much radio silence on their end. And then they just announced this Direct out of the blue, as they always do, and then they just have nothing to show for it themselves. Like, why make a Direct in the first place if you're only gonna show third-party games? Then you could also do a partner showcase or an indie world. But I kind of feel like wasting a big Nintendo Direct to then just announce Wii Sports Resorts for the Switch, and then just showing, I don't know how long it was, but at least 5 minutes of thumb fighting, some Splatoon Raiders gameplay, which looks cool but isn't really a new announcement in itself, and then a remake of Ocarina of Time. That's not enough, I'm afraid. By no means I'm saying that I'm not happy for all of the people that are excited about the Ocarina of Time remake. I kind of am as well, because I have never played Ocarina of Time, and that's gonna be my first experience with that game, and I really am looking forward to enjoying that one. But it's just, we need original games, like, seriously. They launched this console, gave it a And I'm saying this from a huge fanboy's perspective. I'm by no means a hater. I mean, you can look at my online presence. It's pretty much only Nintendo games. They released a half-baked Mario Kart that, while it has a lot of drivers and an open world, misses a lot of customization. There's a lot of weird things, like they removed features like the audio player, and then the online, there's no tournaments anymore. And there's also this weird thing of where, like, I don't get why a Goomba doesn't have any costumes, or why Donkey Kong only has one. It just feels like a significant downgrade from 8. To be honest, and this is purely personal opinion, obviously, as pretty much everything in this video already was and is gonna be, pretty much the only game that I feel was finished when they released it was DK Bonanza. That is a truly good game that really needed the Switch 2 performance upgrades and puts it to great use. But before we turn this into a rant about the lack of Switch 2 games and the quality of the already released ones, it's just like, this was underwhelming by a long shot for 9 months of silence. If they were to release that direct 3 months after we had the last one, then yeah, maybe we could say, okay, well, this is kind of like a smaller one where they just show off all of the other games while they're working on the big 3D Mario games and 3D Zeldas and Donkey Kong games and maybe some DLC for Mario Kart. But it just wasn't, and this is what this console needs. To be honest, it needs a reason for people to buy it, and I would also be kind of happy to have a reason to keep this console basically plugged into the wall, because I'm not really using it right now. It's not really doing anything. There's no game that pulls me in, and there's no hype around it, and I just don't get why they just killed their entire hype with this system by just not releasing any games. This is probably a whole different video worth of topic. Everything that went wrong with the Nintendo Switch 2, in my opinion, because there's a lot. But I just wanted to get this off the chest because I see a lot of debate around this topic, especially with a lot of people saying this was the worst direct by far and everything was bad, and then also a lot of people saying this was a good direct. They released a lot of good games and that's a solid one, and then beefing each other. Like, guys, come on. Why? So yeah, that was pretty much everything I had to say, and that's my position on what this direct was. It's just it was underwhelming, and hopefully we'll get another one soon where we actually get some games that gets everybody hyped.